If you're looking to up your game as far as laying flames out, this is probably going to be a good video for you. Over 25 years, I've been laying flames out, and in that time, I learned a lot of tricks and developed a mindset into how I lay them out. There's so many different styles, so many different ways to do it. This video goes way deeper than just the layout. It goes into the thought process, and it's meant to kind of help you elevate your game. It's not a short video, but there's a lot of information. So if you're looking for a short video, this isn't it, and hope you enjoy it. Here we go. So I'm starting out with a gold base on this. Like I said, this is not a short TikTok style video. It really does just kind of go deeper into the process of thought. I'm starting with a gold base. These flames are going to be a pinstripe flame, but I'm going to add a few things to it. I'm using FBS tape on this, and it's a vinyl tape, so it does stretch. There's pluses, goods and bads. It stretches, but you can also overstretch it. So you want to be careful that you're not stressing the tape too much. That's a big thing. Another thing about this is that the customer wants bigger flames, big loops, which I'm not necessarily used to. So it kind of went against what I normally do as far as laying flames out. So that was a challenge. I do like the layout, but it went against what I traditionally wanted to do, which challenged me a little bit. What I'm doing here is I'm basically kind of just I'm making sure that all the lines are smooth. That's a big thing, and it is one of the downsides of using vinyl tape is it sticks good and does good lines, but it can bend out of shape. So as I'm kind of laying this down, I'm real careful not to distress the tape, push too hard. Through this whole video, which took forever to edit, to go through it, I had to cut a lot of stuff out. I found myself just going over lines and over lines to make sure they're perfect, step back, take a look and kind of just continue that line. You want it to look fluid, like that line follows all the way without stopping, but it almost never goes that way. I always use a razor blade to cut the tips because I don't want to tear the tape, because again, anything that distresses it is going to maneuver the tape out of shape, and really at that point you have to pull it and start with a new piece. These are big flames. It actually looks really good, but I wasn't really into it. I was just kind of following the customer's like his kind of parameters, what he had set, but I would have honestly myself flamed this different, but I love the way it came out. Again, these big massive loops right here. There's nothing about the flames that is like, I don't know, traditional, like these super out of shape, like really out of shape lines that are just these big kind of swooping loops. I like to keep it more symmetrical, but there's nothing about this flame tank that is symmetrical, so it challenged me a lot. Stuff that didn't really look good, like that bottom line in the front of the tank, that's so off to me, but it works. It just, as long as the lines are smooth and it's free and flowing, then it works. This line gave me the most trouble, just over and over and over and over again. I just couldn't get, as you move into the turn, that's the first half of it. Then you have to pull out of the bottom half of the turn. And I just couldn't get it. Like, again, here I go again, doing it again. Like, I just couldn't get it just right. I'm still on that same loop. Here I go again. The first part of the turn, kind of going into it. Then you make that, where you make that turn, then you go towards the bottom, and just making that bottom turn was just so difficult for me, because you're working on the contour of the tank. You're also trying to keep it smooth. So you've got two hands, you've got one hand steering the tape and the other hand is pressing the tape down, and they have to kind of work together in order for it to be right. The other thing was keeping this egg-shaped tank, kind of keeping it even and getting it to the angle where I could, like, I've got my thumb down there on the bottom, and then my left hand is steering the tape. If you notice, my thumb on my left hand keeps the tension on the tape always, and that allows me to work a smooth line. As I'm masking that bottom part of the flame, I'm looking towards the top part of the flame to make sure that everything's kind of even, that it works. Like, you know, there's a look, you know when it's right. Like these big swooping turns. Now I'm like coming up, trying to make it even. Step back, take a look, and here comes the big turn. Boom. Sometimes I would hit it on the first shot, take a look, and I'd like it. Great. I'm looking at both sides of the flame, the bottom and top of that tip, to make sure everything works. Like it's got to be even. It's got to look right. This went totally against everything for me, because it's just, I thought the flames were so big on there, and he specifically wanted like big flames, so that made it hard. Plus he wanted the flames up over the top of the tank, which, you know, I don't usually do it like that. Like, here's another big turn, just swooping around, takes up so much room, and you're just trying to fit it in there, make it all look, you know, make it look uniform. Here's another like big turn. I'm like steering that tape, pushing that thumb, not pushing too hard, just nice and smooth. If you find it, you get yourself a little crooked, you can kind of pull the tape back a little and restart. This line, I think I worked on a lot more. I think I edited it out because it got so monotonous, just over and over. Just keep looking at it. If it's not right, just pull that tape nice and easy and do it again. Usually get about 5 different shots until you have to just put a whole new piece of tape, because it just does get distressed. So I had an issue with this bottom turn here. I couldn't figure out, it goes down, then it needs to swing back up to another turn, but I kept running out of room. So I was trying to get a little bit, like get something out of it and then bring it up, but I just couldn't do it. Another shot, swing it down, nope, too low. Again, too low. Oh, over and over again. I don't care how long I need to sit there. I'll keep sitting there and keep doing this until I get it just right. I don't want it too close there. Then I gotta swing it, bring it up, right there. Too much. Flame was just too fat. It just didn't work for me. Just didn't work. Man, just no room. Again, I'm trying to make that outer, I'm trying to swing that tape out and then have enough room to swing it underneath. So I need to come out and then bring it in, and then now it has to have room to swing under, and that was what was giving me such a headache. Too big. See, I already know that one won't stick. No way, I didn't like the way it swooped out. It has to be fluid for me. Again, so I swing down, swing it up. That one looks pretty good from here, but I don't know how it looked. There we go. Okay, so I finally make that bottom turn. Now I have some room down there. Right. All right, so now when I'm bringing that down, I'm paying attention to the thickness of that flame versus the flames I've already done. Up top, you kind of want them all to be, the thicknesses to be the same. Thankfully, I can run that one off the bottom.
Hey, you?
What do you think?
Too many lines, I say, you know?
It's supposed to have lines.
This flames?
Yes.
This is flames?
Yeah, see?
This look like Mexican flames, I say, you know?
Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
They look nice.
I take it as a compliment. Thank you. Adios. So time for the heat gun. If you noticed, I crossed all the tips because these are pinstripe flames. I got to heat up. This is like one of the secrets of vinyl tape. You don't put too much heat. You got to kind of run it over. And when you heat it and you press it, it kind of redoes the memory of the tape and it stays in that shape. So because all the tips are crossed, I'm going to cut the tips with the razor blade, and then I'll end up with nice sharp ends to the flames. So it's pretty simple. You just you follow the contour line, you cut the bottom, and not into the paint, and just boom, nice and easy. Just peel it away, cut the top, cut the bottom, and it takes a little practice, but if you do this is kind of a big part of it. And then just press that down. Always take some tape, put some tape over the tip, because if you don't, and you'll come back an hour later or the next day, and the tip of that flame will be out of shape. So I ended it for the day, came back, I put this FBS gold tape all over every turn to ensure that nothing moved. The vinyl tape, even though you heat it up, sometimes it does move, so you gotta be careful. Red is like the main color. I add some black. Never a good idea to put black into red ever, but I did do that because I'm looking for kind of an off red, a little bit more of like somewhat of a burgundy. I added some other burgundy tones, but put a little black in it to darken it up. Not a lot. So right before you paint, that's when you pull this stuff. Don't ever let it sit. It'll just start, it can move on you, especially the tips. So this is like my last time to check everything out. Make sure all my tips are good. Press it down, repress everything down with your finger. Remember, these are pinstripe flames, so these lines aren't, if they're not pushed down right, it's gonna be a mess. So, all right, so I'm minutes from painting here. This is the kind of the easy part. Just give it a last look, make sure all those turns are good. And I'm gonna put 3 coats of red. The first coat, I'm gonna, don't forget to clean it. Definitely don't ever want to push against the tips. You kind of just want to run the towel with the lines, but don't hit the direct tips. That's the thing that messes up the most, is the tips of the flames. I'm always pushing those tips down. First coat, I usually go like a light medium coat. If you flood this thing on the first coat, it's too much and it always causes problems. So this first light medium coat acts like a barrier. It locks everything down. The other thing about this vinyl tape is as soon as you spray any base coat over it, it freezes it and it won't move. That base coat just hits the top and it literally freezes the vinyl tape. This is the rear fender. I just put a line around the edge of it. So this works good if you're not like a pinstriper and you don't want to pull like crazy straight lines. I use tape, I'd say 75% of the time. It's always perfect, it looks good. If you can stripe it, but for this one, I felt like I could get more out of it just using the FBS blue tape. So this is after 3 coats. Let that thing dry, man, for at least a couple hours. Make sure it's good and dry. I had a little last minute idea to give the flames a little extra. The pinstripe flames look good. I'm taking the FBS green masking tape. It's really hard to see at this point because the tape kind of obviously covers up that blue tape. So my idea here was I just wanted to add just a little fade. So I took the red and I added some more black to it, and it's still red, but it's like a dark red. I didn't want to overdo it. This is that stage where I always seem to overdo it, and I'm like, ugh, I shouldn't have done that. So I'm just kind of wanted to add a little something. There's my sick ass Iwata. I don't even know what model that thing is, but you can see that red is a little darker. There it is. So just the edge of that thing right there, not too much, just little, and just fade that up. Don't overdo it. The other thing to think is you don't want to build up a ton of paint. And when you pull your blue tape, there's this thick line. That's another thing you want to avoid. I don't want this to turn into an issue. I just want a nice little effect. I don't want to make any problems for myself. And that's it right there. You'll see it more once you pull the tape. But my idea was that gradation of color just in that tip would just give it a little bit more movement. And this is one of those kind of like things that doesn't take a whole lot of time, but man, it really did make I think it made a big difference, and you almost don't even notice it. You see it, but you don't see it. I don't know how else to explain it. But yeah, it doesn't look like much there, but you can kind of see. Obviously, you can ruin the job too if you airbrush that outside of the line. You can also destroy the red that you want to keep. So I always use a razor blade. That line I didn't have to. That's a nice clean line, and then you find out how well you cut those tips. Remember, you always got to heat it with the heat gun, and that's really how you get those nice sharp tips. Is you just real careful, heat it with the heat gun. They are never perfect. It's almost impossible, but you can get them really about 98%, which is usually good enough. You can see that dark red on the tip. It just gives the flame a little bit more fullness. Just push that razor blade against the tape, not against the base. Like I don't care if it takes me 15 times to just kind of just lightly boom and then pull it. Nice and easy, everything's sticking. If you're lucky, you'll grab the under piece, right, and then it instinctively pulls the piece that's overlapped over the top, and you don't have to hit it with the razor blade. Oh man, all those lines, we spend so much time making them smooth, and this is kind of that payoff. Oop, there we go, underlying piece, and you get to grab the under piece without a razor blade. Nice and smooth. Look at that, those nice dark tips. Whew, that looked good. That looks good. So glad I did that. So glad. Just push that razor blade right into the side. There you go. Oh, dang, double. I got both at the same time. That never happens. So adhesion is a big part too, to make sure that the red sticks to the gold. Base coats will always generally stick to the base coat. They bond chemically. That means the reducers in the red bond chemically to the gold. If you have a problem unmasking after it's dry, there's usually a bigger issue that goes on. Base coats should usually always not have a problem chemically bonding to the base coat underneath it. The red should stick to the gold. If it doesn't, you usually get a paint store that gives you cheap binder. Like the binder goes into the paint to kind of hold it steady. Only times I've ever had issues is when I find out a paint store's used cheap binder in the actual base coat. But fortunately, this is all good paint. So finished product. Full disclosure, I didn't polish this tank yet. This is just clear coated out of the gun. There's a lot of work that went into it, a lot of masking, but super cool, timeless, has a simplicity, classic look. I absolutely love it. Thank you for watching. See you on the next video. Please subscribe if you want to see more.
Any questions, please leave them in the comments.